So Joe Biden is stonewalling marijuana legalization, or at the very least decriminalization. So let me read you this new thing that happened involving the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer proposed legislation Wednesday to legalize marijuana at the federal level, a move aimed at easing restrictive drug policies that have disproportionately impacted communities of color and the poor. The Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act would remove marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act and introduce regulations to tax cannabis products. The proposal would expunge federal records of nonviolent cannabis offenders and allow people serving time in federal prison for nonviolent marijuana crimes to petition a court for resentencing. By the way, under this legislation, it also gives basically the first crack at profiting off of marijuana and creating the industry, the marijuana industry. It gives first crack to the communities that were impacted the most by the war on drugs. So listen, it's a good piece of legislation. Chuck Schumer's bringing it up. Now, the reality is it would have to go through regular order, which means it needs 60 votes. I don't think you're going to get 60 votes. Even if you hold every single Democrat, which I have doubts on that, because who knows what Manchin or maybe the odd conservative Democrat would say on this. Some might be against it. Sinema, whoever, somebody might be against it. But then you also... at most you get 2 or 3 Republican senators. No way you're going to get the number that you need. So, not going to get like 9. So, you could argue this is a little bit of like, it's a virtue signaling bill. I'm going to show that I'm on the right side of this, and a lot of us Democrats are on the right side of this, but we have our arms twisted, and it's not really going to go anywhere. But that gets me to the one and only President Biden. So get this, from Kevin Robillard, however you say it, the press secretary on Schumer's marijuana legalization bill, quote, "I've spoken in the past about the president's views on marijuana, and there's no change. No change." So in other words, he was always a drug warrior, and he's still a drug warrior. Even at this late date, even when the polls are overwhelming. In the country, it's like 60% want to legalize marijuana. And then the Democratic Party, I haven't seen a specific poll for the Democratic Party, but I imagine it's 80% or more, probably between 80 and 90%. So, what are you doing here? The part that's the most frustrating is, dude, look at your son. Look at Hunter. Hunter has had all sorts of problems with drugs and addiction. And you know what? Joe Biden never wanted to lock him in a cage and ruin his life over that. He wanted to give him a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance and endless chances. So for him to be in favor of criminalizing it for everybody else, but for his son, oh, he's special, that is unforgivable in my opinion. And by the way, listen, the real takeaway should be people who have substance abuse issues, they should get treatment. It should be treated like a medical issue. And then everybody who can handle substances, which by the way, according to Dr. Carl Hart, the expert on this, 80% of people are not addicted to substances when they have substances, whatever they may be. For them, they should be able to do what they want. It's not a crime. Nobody's getting hurt. It's the same thing as drinking a whiskey on the weekend or something. But he doesn't view it like that. I mean, this is the author of the crime bill, guys. How many innocent men and women of color were locked up as a direct result of what Joe Biden was in favor of? This is a guy who said we should ban raves or something to that effect. He's a drug warrior. He was one, and he still is one. So, it's Joe Biden who's really getting in the way of taking the next step on weed. When we know the writing's on the wall, eventually it's going to be legalized, you have to do it. And the most frustrating part is you don't even need this piece of legislation through the House and the Senate. I mean, it would be good to have it, but the president has the ability to take marijuana off the controlled substances list altogether. So immediately decriminalizing it. You know, if you want to legalize it and then put the, guardrails in place and put the rules in order to make it so that, like we said, the communities that were most impacted by the war on drugs get first crack at it. I get that, and I'm in favor of that. But Joe Biden could end this national nightmare today, and he doesn't want to do it. Even to the point of, it sounds like, even if there were some miracle and this bill got through the Senate and it would immediately get through the House, they've already passed a different marijuana legalization bill through the House. If this got through the Senate, Biden might veto it. He might veto it, which is just bonkers, man. That's just out of this world at this late date. It's really unforgivable. So anyway, even though it's a virtue signaling bill on the part of the Senate Democrats, I'm happy that they're on the side of legalizing marijuana, or most of them are. The overwhelming majority of the elected Democrats in the Senate are on that side now. The House Democrats, we know, are in favor of it because they already passed a marijuana legalization bill. So really, it's the Republicans getting in the way and Joe Biden. It's just so pathetic. It's so pathetic because it also, on top of just being the right thing to do when it comes to criminal justice, it's also the right thing to do when it comes to the economy and personal freedom. And he's just wrong across the board. He seems to understand the issue more when it comes to his own son. When it comes to others, throw the fucking book at him. That's the worst kind of hypocrisy.